Okay, so I'm just about to get started on part 4 of the video series, but it's actually going to be part 4 or 5 now because I actually am going to do an install video on this as well. But basically the 4-part series of showing how to build a bed will be just that, a 4-part series. All I have really left to do on the bed is I have some edge banding to do, and the side supports here, they need to be sort of nailed into the sides using square spiral finishing nails. I've got the desk behind me, that's all finished and ready to go. So all I've got left to do is build the frame, install the bed into the frame, and then install the frame into where its final resting place is going to be. And then I'm also going to show how to do the counterweights on the back of the bed. It's pretty simple. Basically, it's just weight screwed to the back of the bed, the back panel, which in this case is right here. So I'm just going to be screwing it through from here into the 2x2s on the back there. Anyway, I'm almost done. So less talky and more worky. Okay. All right, here we go. So I've already got the pieces cut out for this, so I'm just getting them all laid out here. And the first thing that I'm going to do is I am going to line up this piece, which is just basically the back stretcher. And then just instead of measuring it out, I'm just going to mark it out with a pencil here. It's always better to use the actual piece as opposed to measuring if you can. Cut out this little notch using the circular saw and jigsaw, and then you can see actually it just slides right in there. This is the way that I chose to do it. You could do it a whole bunch of different ways. I screwed it from the back. You could use angle irons. You don't have to put out that little notch. This is just sort of the way that I felt like I wanted to do it. Did the same thing to the other side and then put the top panel on, and I actually nailed that into place using the square finishing nails. Now that the frame is finished, basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the location of the hole that the conduit is going to go through from the bed into this. I started by, again, drilling a pilot hole and then using that pilot hole with the Forstner bit, and I drilled from both sides using the Forstner bit just to avoid any blowout. On the inside, it's not super important because you're not really going to see it. I then found the hole location on the bed itself, and using the same sort of method, pilot hole, then a Forstner bit, and then I used a spade bit to finish off the hole. And I just slid the conduit through that hole. It was a little bit tricky getting it through to the other side. Rough cut it to approximate size so that I could then fit it within the frame. I was able to pull the frame out and then just slide the conduit in there. The next thing I decided to do was drill the holes in the proper location for the desk. I wanted to do this at the end just in case I needed to make any modifications, but again, I used the pilot hole and Forstner bit method, drilling from both sides so that there wasn't any blowout. Then using the bolts, I placed the bolts through the supports and into the desk and secured it into place. This is just a dry fit because I wanted to see how much of the bolt I wanted to take off. Obviously, I didn't need to do this with the desk, but I decided to. Now, here's a little tip. If you're using a nylock washer, make sure you thread the nylock washer on first backwards before you make the cut. And then that way you can take those threads off with the back of the nylock washer and not the nylon itself. There's the bed basically ready to go. Nothing much really left to do here, maybe a little bit of finishing. So speaking of finishing, I decided that I was going to put some banding on all the edges just to give it a bit more of a finished look. I was only going to do some of the exposed edges, but then I got carried away and I just did them all. Sort of something I decided, not really last minute, but I decided to nail about every foot around the perimeter of the bed using these square finishing nails. And I put these nails in, like I said, about every foot. And then countersunk them using a hole punch and filled those holes in with some wood filler. Okay, so now we're talking about the counterweight. So I've got a couple of things here. I've got that brick, there's an iron pipe there, and then this scrap piece of steel that I found. And I'm basically just securing them right into the 2x2 structure in the back of the bed. You could use any one of these 3 or more. You know what I was thinking would be a really good use is if you're doing your brake job on your car, the rotors of your car brakes would be really good. Next thing I got to do is I got to load everything up into the trailer. I had asked my wife to help me out with this as the parts are a little bit not just heavy but a little bit awkward. Threw everything in the trailer, locked her up, and decided to start making the drive out west. So if you have any questions about this video, please post them, and I'll try to answer them in the next video. I'm making a new website for the design as well, and yeah, I really appreciate everybody who has also used some of their money to buy the plans from me.